Fantastic. Next up, we have Chris Donaldson. He's the chairman of TinOne, also a fairly new tin company that the Inventor Group put together. And you might have heard of the Inventor Group before at this conference. They're also part of Vizsla Silver is part of the Inventor Group. Golden Shield is part of the Inventor Group that are presenting here as well. Chris, it's great to have you on, and looking forward to an update on what you guys are up to.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Next time I get to go first, though. Yeah, good presentation. We have a lot of the similar slides here, so I think we might end up having a bit more of a conversation than a full presentation. And part of the reason, I think all tin companies have quite a few slides explaining what's happening in the tin market is it's relatively unknown. I guess I should introduce myself first. So I'm Chris Donaldson. I'm the chair of TinOne. As Kai mentioned, we're a relatively new company. We just started listing by way of an RTO at the beginning of the year in January. We trade on the TSX under the TSX Venture under the symbol TORC. And yeah, so we've been very quiet. Up until about 3 weeks ago, and we're just starting to market now. But we have been drilling for the last couple months and hope to start making some waves here soon. We should get our first bit of results out in the next few weeks. So I will be making some forward-looking statements and talking about my hopes and dreams. So please read this if you are going to make any investment. So TinOne. Today I'll talk a little bit about the tin market. I'll talk about the two flagship projects that we have, which are located in Australia, in Tasmania. And then I'll give you a little overview of the investment thesis as well. As mentioned, we listed in January, raised about $5 million at that time, a little over $5 million at 25 cents. I think we're trading at about 20 cents today, giving us a market cap of $10 or $12 million. So we're just getting going. I think it's certainly looks like we'll have some upside from here. To confuse you a little bit, we assembled these properties about 4 years ago in Tasmania, and nobody was talking about tin 4 years ago. So we thought to make it a little more attractive to list, we vended in a gold asset as our qualifying property. So we had to drill that out. It was required for our listing. So that's part of the reason we haven't been out talking public, because we're a tin company with a gold asset. So we've now finished the drilling on that, and we will get some results in the next couple months on that project. But what I want to talk to you about is the tin fundamentals, and what I'm finding over the last few weeks as we're going out there is, first of all, the market is not really well understood. There are certainly not many companies in the space. We joined the Tin Association. I think we were the 10th company to join in the Explorer Developer category. So if you take anything away from this, we're one of the top 10 developers out there, for sure. And I mean, the story is really on the supply and demand, as you heard. And on the demand side, solder is over half the use. We call it, or others have been calling it, the glue that holds together batteries or semiconductors or whatever it may be. The demand for that is only increasing, as you heard, and the forecast is very, very positive going forward. What's a little more interesting right now is really what's happening on the supply side, and that was alluded to, with Indonesia and Myanmar, China, DRC being the primary suppliers. China withholding the metal from the general market. You heard last week that Indonesia, they keep flip-flopping, but now they're not going to export tin as well. Myanmar, which is very high-grade alluvial placer mining operations, they're kind of running through their main deposits there, so that's decreasing as well. So what's happened is this gap in the supply and demand, and it's put a real squeeze on the price of the metal. And if you look at the market there, right as it starts taking off, it's been happening for 2 years. And it's about as nice of a graph as you ever want to see in a metal. It hit an all-time high two years ago, over 50,000 per ton. It's pulled back. It's still about 35,000 a ton right now, which is more than double the historic average. And when I was putting this presentation together, was looking at the comps of various companies, and all of them have just really nice graphs, which is different from a lot of other junior mining. I'm also involved with a gold company. I wish I had a graph like that. So I think we hope to get on that trajectory here pretty soon. And part of the reason the tin market, when the squeeze happened, is it's such a small market. This is not something, it's not like copper where you get the BHPs of the world building 50, 100-year mines. Generally they're smaller mines, smaller companies that are operating them, and for shorter periods of time. So it acts as historically, it's acted as one of the most cyclical of all the metals. And I think we're on a good run now, or I know we're on a good run now, and it should continue for a number of years. So we have two main assets that are both located in Tasmania, Great Pyramid and Aberfoill. Great Pyramid has a historic resource on it. Abrafoil is a historic tin producing region. Both of them basically stopped advancing in the 80s when the tin price fell below 5,000 per ton. And so what are we doing right now? Our Great Pyramid, I was actually there just 6 weeks ago, finally able to get into Australia because of COVID. The main takeaway for me was the access. It's in an area, both projects are actually in an area that historically was forestry. So there are forestry roads that lead right up and on top of the property and crosscuts all the way through. So we're able to get to all the drill pads without any permitting on that. You're allowed to upgrade the roads, existing roads, without issue there. So we currently have two drills operating, two diamond drills and one RC drill that have been turning. Our plan is to do 17 holes. I think we've just finished our 7th hole, and as mentioned, the first couple of holes, we should get the results back in the next couple or few weeks. So the deposit itself has 10,000 tons of contained tin based on the historic resource, which is fairly small. It's right at surface, and it only goes down to about 40 meters. So our goal with this campaign is twofold. One, to prove out the historic resource, and also to extend down where you see some of the, we have had some deeper holes, but we're going to go down to about 150 meters on average and try to build that out. We'd like to get it into kind of the 30,000 ton range. Why that number? Well, it's similar to what Taronga was when it was acquired a couple of years ago, and that really should establish a base value for the company. So this is our plan for the next 3 months. What we're quite excited about is we did some IP work on the project and identified there's a large chargeability at depth right below the project and a little bit to the side. If you look at the bottom graph there, that starts at about 200 meters and extends below where any detectable limit there. So we will put our last two holes about 400 meters into that zone. Hoping of course it's tin. It could be a hunk of pyrite. We don't know, but if it is tin, that this will be a bit of a game changer on the plans there. So this is our next 6 months. With this program, our second project, which is about 45 minutes away, is called Aberfoill. It's a historic tin district that has produced over 2 million tons of ore at about 1%. And it again, it stopped in the 80s. What they were doing at that time is basically just chasing high-grade veins. So they never really had any modern exploration on it. So we're putting a lot of work into soil sampling and mapping it out, prepping it up so that when we're done at Great Pyramid, we'll be able to move to Aberfoill and have some prime targets. How's my time? Uh-oh, I gotta stretch. Yeah, so we'll have some prime targets on that, and I don't know exactly the timing on that. Some of it, is dependent on the results we get at Great Pyramid. I should say that we have, we raised over $5 million. I have about $3.5 million in the bank. We have enough to get right through our program at Great Pyramid. We'll see if we do a very small raise in between. Markets that have been a little erratic here in the last little bit, so it might be good to do a little top up if we can. Yeah, I mean, why we like Tasmania, I mentioned the roads and the infrastructure. Tasmania is also going on a bit of a change of direction. In the past, they weren't really that pro-business. They're trying to reclaim industry now. So they're actually encouraging development. The area that we're in was forestry. It's still zoned for future commercial production. So, if you're looking at a longer lens, should we get to a resource and decide to build, we shouldn't have any restrictions. We don't have any Aboriginal issues on that as well. So we're quite happy to be there. Yeah, and so, I mean, we have a very straightforward plan for the next 16 months. We're just getting started now. The drills have been turning. We're trying to do as much RC drilling as we can. While we can, we're running into the rainy season there. RC drilling, of course, is about a third cheaper than, or a third of the cost of the diamond drilling. Plus, we get the assays back in about a month, whereas the diamond drill assays take about 2 months. So I think we have about another month of RC drilling before we'll have to kind of pause that for a little bit. Little bit about the company. As Kai mentioned, we're backed by the Inventa Capital Group. I won't go through everybody there, but it's headed by Craig Perry and Mike Connort. Craig specifically has had a lot of success in the industry. Founder of NextGen and ISO Energy, chairman of Visa Silver, which is probably our flagship group, and there's 14 companies under the banner. I also have with me one of our board members, Liz Monger, who's been in the business 25 years. I know she only looks 25 years old, but it's great to have her on board and help us out as well. Russell Fulton on the bottom, he runs our exploration program. He lives in Tasmania. He's 68 years old, has a lot of connections. Part of the challenge in that area is getting rigs, but through his connections, we were able to secure three different crews. So quite happy to have him on the team as well. I mentioned Craig. We also have Paul Matisic, that many of you might know. He's bought and sold a number of companies, and he's helping us out here. So, the opportunity is great. Certainly in the general tin space, the grades that we've seen are in line with producing companies. Put us average or better in both by almost every metric compared to our peers right now. We're undervalued. Every company says that, but the fact that we haven't put out any news and really haven't marketed, I think there's going to be some good blue sky ahead of us, as they say. So good location, good team, pretty solid strategy for next 18 months, and I think the timing in the tin space is as good as any. Our takeaways for the last few weeks when we're talking to funds is we like the tin thesis. We don't have any exposure, and those that do have exposure are looking for other companies to invest. One to keep an eye on is Alphamin. Alphamin is a producer that's up for sale right now. That's about $1.5 billion market cap. If that actually sells, hopefully some of that money recirculates into some of the other companies as well. So that's it. Thanks for your time, guys. Questions?
Fantastic. Yeah. Do we have any questions for Chris? If not, we have one. Perfect.
These deposits have any similarities to other deposits around the world?
Yes, the Aberfoill itself, was a deposit, right, and high grade veins and so forth. So that one was producing the Great Pyramid. We haven't hit the granite source right yet. I can't give you a direct comparison to that, but I'm happy to get you better examples offline here.
Fantastic. Awesome. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.